Hi everyone, it's Heather from Scrapbook Bakery and I have another video today. Today I just want to give you a few tips when using Shrinky Dinks in your card making. Now this is just a basic 101, there's lots of things you can do, but I just want to focus on using Shrinky Dinks as an embellishment in card making. So the first thing I want to show you is the different types of Shrinky Dinks that you can get. This is the package cover for the bright white. And you can always find out what paper it is by looking right under the logo, and it will have the label right there. This one has a little clown on the front. They each have a different image. And I found these at my local craft store, but you can also find them on shrnkydinks.com, and I'll have a link to that in my description of the video. So the first thing I want to show you is what the bright white paper looks like. And this is just a little scrap that I had left over, and this is... they're 8 by 10 in size, the sheets are, and you get 6 in a package. So this is just a leftover piece that I had, and as you can see, it's just a real thin piece of plastic, and it's got it's very slick. So when you're stamping on it, make sure that when you stamp down, that you do not wiggle your hands or it's going to smear. You just want to stamp down firmly and right back up. So let me show you what I mean. I'm using a clear acrylic stamp with this, and you always have to use StazOn ink when stamping on the Shrinky Dinks paper. It doesn't matter which one, you have to use StazOn. So I'm going to ink this up with my black StazOn, and I'm going to stamp it on the bright white Shrinky Dinks paper, just to show you what I mean by the pressure that you have to do. So you're just going to go right down, press really firmly, and then you're just going to lift up, and there's your image. And then I have one cut out already to show you. Now this is the step where if you wanted to color this, you would go ahead and use paint markers. Paint markers is the only thing that's going to work on this surface. I experimented with like Sharpie markers, and all it does is smear the ink. So you do not want to use anything but paint markers on this paper. So on this flower image, I do not want to color it. So I like the black and white, but I do want to take it a step farther and make this into a button. So I'm going to use my crocodile, and I'm going to punch 2 holes using the larger of the 2 holes. And right in the center, I'm going to make 2 punches, just like you would to make any button. Now these holes right now look very large, but when you shrink an image, it shrinks in the image to 1/3 of the size. So it's going to do the same thing with the holes that I punched. I don't know if you can see that well, but there's 2 holes in the center. And once they're done and baked, this is what that looks like. I don't know if you can see, but there's 2 holes right in the center there. So let me show you the difference in size. This was the original, and this is what comes out when it's done baking. And I used this actually on a card. It was on my blog, but I'll show you here too. So right there in the center flower, these 2 are not buttons, but the center flower is, and I put a little bit of string on there. So there's the example for that. And now moving on, I want to show you the other type of paper I used recently, and it is the frosted Rough and Ready. This is what that package looks like, little angel, and right underneath the label is the frosted Rough and Ready. What it looks like is, again, an 8 by 10 sheet. There's 6 in a package. Kind of hard to see with the white background. Let me put something underneath. Here's a paper bag we're going to use later. It's 8 by 10 in size, and one side of it is very smooth and slick. The other side, obviously, is the rough side. So let me show you how to use that. You're going to take, I have some already stamped for you here, and this time I'm going to use a rubber stamp. Again, you can either use clear acrylic stamps or the rubber stamp. And I'm using in this video all Hero Art stamps. They're very high quality and great for any project, especially with Shrinky Dinks. So I'm going to show you again how to stamp this on the Rough and Ready paper. Just going to ink it up well. Now this side is the smooth side. I do not want to stamp on the smooth side. I'm going to stamp, oh, I'm sorry, that was wrong, just kidding. You're going to stamp on the smooth side, and the back side of it, which is rough, is going to be for the coloring. So again, this is slick side up, smooth, and you're just going to press your stamp on there. I'm making several of these for a project. So I'm going to press down, not wiggling my hands just like the other one, and lifting up. And there's my image. So now to color on the Rough and Ready, it's a little bit different. You can do one or two things. You can use a colored pencil, I have here, and again, the smooth side is for stamping. You turn it around, and this is the rough side. The rough side is for coloring, the textured side. So you could go ahead and quickly color the flower with your colored pencil and cut it out and it's ready to go. Or what I like to do, which I've already done here on this one right here, on the back side, I took some acrylic paint. This is some Heidi Swap I used in Betty. And I just squirted some in the middle, and I took a paintbrush and painted it very quickly. When I'm done with that, I'm just going to cut it out. Here's another one I have ready. See, as you can see, I'm just going to cut that out, and it's ready to go. Now, once it's baked, let me show you what it's going to look like. Here's the final result. I don't know if you can see that well. So this is the original size before it went into the oven, and this is the finished size. It's just a great embellishment, and it, like I said, it shrinks to 1/3 of the size, but it also becomes thick, so it's a really nice sturdy embellishment for your cards. So let me show you some other examples of Shrinky Dinks that I made using those two types of paper. Again, I'm using this flower image. This yellow was used with the Rough and Ready paper and the colored pencils, yellow colored pencils. And colored pencils is great because you can do a lot of shading, so it gives it a lot of dimension. Here's another one. This is with the acrylic like I showed you, and this is another red one. I love this one. This is with the acrylic paint on the back as well with the Rough and Ready. Now moving on to the bright white. Here is, let me zoom in here. Sorry about that. You can also do words, not just images. So here I have the word smile. I did one celebrate and enjoy as well. Let me show you the stamp that I used. This is a Hero Art stamp as well. This is the original size, pretty big. And this is when it was done. And I did all these white ones on the bright white paper with Stays On ink. So that's kind of fun with the words. And here's a little fish. Whoops. These are all Hero Arts. The little monster, he's my favorite. I did the famous butterfly. Love that one. Again, you can color these before they go in the oven with your paint markers, and you can find those at your local craft store or shrnkydinks.com. And this one I thought was fun was the bubble, and then you could actually pair it up with one of the images. So like the fish could be thinking of you. Just something fun. Okay, and one last thing, I want to give you a few tips on when you're baking them in the oven. Let me get my baking sheet out to show you. Okay, on the inside of the baking sheet, you're going to want to lay a brown paper bag that you get from the grocery store on the inside. This keeps your sheet protected, and it's something to kind of remove from the baking sheet. So you're just going to lay that inside. It fits pretty well. Sorry I can't zoom out all the way. And when you're done, when they go into the oven, you're going to bake them at 325 for 3 minutes. And the directions say it's only 3 minutes, but I found that a lot of people ask me, how did I get the Shrinky Dinks so flat? Let me show you. If these just came out of the oven, these might have taken, like I've noticed like at 3 minutes, sometimes they're still curling. You want to wait until all of the Shrinky Dinks that are on the paper are completely flat before you remove them from the oven. And when you do and they're flat and you remove them from the oven, you're going to take another brown paper bag and you're just going to lay it on top of the Shrinky Dinks and press. Press for about 10 seconds or so and remove, and that will ensure that the Shrinky Dinks stay flat. So it's just another tip. One last tip is that if you did want to color your Shrinky Dinks with the paint markers, I just wanted to show you another card example of how that turned out. Now the flower isn't Shrinky Dink, I just made that out of paper. But this little bee at top, I used a yellow paint marker after I stamped it on the bright white with Stays On, and I just colored that little bee in. So again, I'll show you the difference. This was the original size bee, and that is after it's been baked. So I just wanted to show you a colored image of that. There's that example. Well, I hope this helped you with all your questions about Shrinky Dinks. Please leave a comment, let me know what you think, and you can always check out more ideas on my blog.